What changed the law? The law that changed women's rights, the equality that changed everything. Episode 12, When Women Stopped Setting the Boundary. It did not begin with confrontation, it began with compliance. One organisation updated its policy, another followed. A legal department issued guidance, a sporting code rewrote eligibility, a workplace revised its language, a school adopted new procedures. Each decision appeared isolated, routine, administrative, but together they carried the same message. The female boundary would no longer be determined by biological women alone. This episode explains how institutions progressively become the authority defining female spaces, leaving biological women increasingly subject to decisions made without their agreement. Once the legal framework had been established, implementation followed. Institutions did not ask whether the law existed, they asked how to comply with it. Policies were rewritten, definitions were explained, complaint procedures were strengthened, practical consequence was gradual. Biological women increasingly found themselves entering environments where the rules governing female spaces had already been decided. Not by them, not through public consultation, but through policy, legal advice and institutional governance and administrative interpretation. The change was subtle. Women did not lose every space overnight. They lost the authority to determine the boundary. And from that point forward, the question was no longer, what is a women's space? The question became, who now decides? And each institution answered differently. Each policy looked slightly different, but the direction remained consistent. The authority shifted away from biological women. For many women, this became the deeper concern. The issue was no longer simply access, it was governance. The boundary had moved beyond their control. Women who questioned those decisions increasingly encountered institutional resistance rather than institutional protection. The law had already spoken, the policies were simply catching up. And over time, what began as legal compliance became everyday reality. Not because biological women agreed, but because the framework had already been established. The greatest shift was not simply who entered women's spaces. It was who no longer controlled the boundary. And when speaking against the new framework, became evidence against the speaker.